The gloves are off in Washington. President Trump just declared war on the weaponizers, and the establishment's terrified. His message to crooked prosecutors was crystal clear: your time is up. Attorney General Pam Bondi has her marching orders. The press secretary didn't mince words when reporters tried their usual spin, and what happened next sent shockwaves throughout the swamp. Democrats threatening shutdowns, the media screaming about revenge. But Trump's team has one response that's driving them insane. You see, they thought they could destroy him with lawfare. They thought they were untouchable. They thought wrong. The haters, the hunters, are about to become the hunted. What you're about to see will restore your faith in justice. So don't look away. And when corrupt prosecutors come after you and your family, you do need protection. A 2025 survey found that over half of U.S. adults are concerned about how fast their skin is aging, with 40% fixating on random wrinkles and dark spots. If that sounds like you, you're not alone. More and more people are noticing visible changes in their skin far earlier than expected. This is why I use my secret anti-aging weapon. I'm obsessed with the changes I've noticed in my skin. It provides my skin with 5 must-have types of premium collagen needed to reduce wrinkles. Since I started taking it, I've experienced smoother skin, more elasticity, fewer fine lines, and a more youthful glow. Plus, it mixes smoothly with my morning coffee. No taste or clumps. Be sure to grab a bag of Aegis Multi-Collagen before you leave. It's only 51% off at healthwithgary.com. Take years off the clock, plus order now. You're guaranteed to get free VIP live health and fitness coaching for life, a free ebook titled The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, and free shipping. Once again, the website healthwithgary.com, and we thank them for sponsoring the show and making it possible. So, just a few hours ago, President Trump on Air Force One hosting a gaggle. I love these Air Force One gaggles. This is what he said about Democrats and what they stand for. Listen carefully.
Anger.
So I ask you, what did the Democrats stand for at this point?
I think chaos, confusion, anger. They're losers. They don't even want to extend the opening. We have a very successful country. If we gave them everything they wanted, they're deranged. If we gave them everything they wanted, they wouldn't extend, in my opinion. They say, oh, they want to meet with me. It's nonsense, but I'll meet with them. But no, they're angry, and they took a big loss, and they're doing worse now than they were during the election. So they're doing very badly. I don't think, actually, I think they stand for chaos. They stand for nothing.
So I ask you, what did the Democrats...
They stand for chaos. Here is more from the... Do we have another? I think we have another clip here from the Oval, or no, from the Air Force One. Here he is discussing Pam Bondi.
There are a lot of crooked...
In regards to Pam Bondi, who should she focus on as far as bringing accountability?
Everybody, really. It's a big office. She's doing a good job. But focus on everybody. There are a lot of crooked people that were here before me. And people that almost destroyed our country. If I didn't win this election, our country would be destroyed. We wouldn't have a country right now.
In regards...
That's the truth, and President Trump is restoring this nation. Speaking of corruption, the press secretary was asked about Letitia James today, just a few hours ago in the James Brady briefing room. Here's her response.
Thank you, Donald. Let me just walk you through Letitia James. Letitia James completely abused her oath of office. Letitia James was actively and openly engaged in lawfare. You talk about weaponizing the Department of Justice. What was Letitia James's campaign slogan? It was prosecute Donald Trump. She was saying she was going to prosecute Donald Trump before she even knew if Donald Trump committed a crime, which of course we did not. Those are not the words of a serious prosecutor. Those are the words of a corrupt politician who is abusing their power. She actively campaigned on that. She also led the witch hunt, the financial fraud investigation against President Trump and the Trump Organization, in an appeals court tossed that case out, a $500 million civil fraud penalty in August, which was another win for the president, and exonerated him of this witch hunt and showed that this is an individual who is corrupt and abused her oath of office. And we also have evidence of her mortgage fraud. An April report from a white-collar fraud investigator found that there was documented evidence that James engaged in a consistent pattern of financial and property disclosures that raise serious legal questions.
But why won't the president accept the conclusions of his Justice Department to not bring charges against Letitia James? In fact, you had Bondi and Blanche top DOJ leadership who were against ousting Eric Siebert, who again was picked by President Trump.
I just answered that question for you, and the president has every right to express how he feels about these people who literally campaigned on trying to put him in jail, who literally tried to ruin his life and ruin his businesses, and he wants to see accountability for those who abuse their office and abuse their power. And Letitia James absolutely did that, whether you want to admit it or not.
Is that not
Jeff,
retribution, though?
Jeff, it's accountability. Let me just
Retribution? No, it's accountability. Now, there's been some news surrounding Tom Homan lately, and the press secretary smacking down the fake news. Listen.
Strongest, and Mr. Homan never took the $50,000 that you're referring to, so you should get your facts straight, number one. Number two, this was another example of the weaponization of the Biden Department of Justice against one of President Trump's strongest and most vocal supporters in the midst of a presidential campaign. You had FBI agents going undercover to try and entrap one of the president's top allies and supporters, someone who they knew very well would be taking a government position months later. Mr. Homan did absolutely nothing wrong, and even the president's Department of Justice, even Kash Patel's FBI, looked into this just to make sure. They had a number of different prosecutors and FBI agents who looked into this. They found zero evidence of illegal activity or criminal wrongdoing. In the White House and the president stand by Tom Homan 100% because he did absolutely nothing wrong, and he is a brave public servant who has done a phenomenal job in helping the president shut down the border. Mr. Homan never.
So there's news going around now. They're trying to say that Tom Homan accepted a bribe, shutting it down completely. Here's more from the press secretary today.
The president is fulfilling his promise to restore a Department of Justice that demands accountability. And it is not weaponizing the Department of Justice to demand accountability for those who weaponized the Department of Justice. And nobody knows what that looks like more than President Trump. We are not going to tolerate gaslighting from anyone in the media or from anyone on the other side who is trying to say that it's the president who is weaponizing the DOJ. It was Joe Biden and his attorney general who weaponized the DOJ. Joe Biden used this sacred American institution to go after his political opponent in the middle of an election year. And you look at people like Adam Schiff and like James Comey and like Letitia James, who the president is rightfully frustrated. He wants accountability for these corrupt fraudsters who abused their power, who abused their oath of office to target the former president and then candidate for the highest office in the land. And I think the president is reaffirmed in those frustrations and his hope for accountability by the millions and millions of people who reelected him to this office with a mandate to demand accountability. And the president has not been shy about this, Gabe. In fact, when he traveled to the Department of Justice earlier this year, all of you were there to cover it. He said, quote, "I demand a full and complete accountability for wrongs and abuses that have occurred. The American people gave a mandate to investigate and root the corruption out of our system." And that's what the president wants to see done. The president.
And that's exactly what I voted for. Here we have 100%. Democrats shut down. Can't wait. Then President Trump can dismantle every corrupt department. Thanks, Democrats. We couldn't do it without your greed and stupidity. Senator Pat Murray, 10 hours ago, writing, "Compromise is a very basic principle every American understands. Republicans don't bother working with Democrats just because Trump said so. It will be a Republican shutdown. Republicans control the House, Senate, and White House. The American people will know who to blame."
Option. If you want Democratic votes, you need to work with us. Compromise is a very basic principle every American understands. And if Republicans don't bother working with Democrats just because Donald Trump said so, it will be a Republican shutdown. Republicans control all of government, the House, the Senate, the White House, the American people know who to blame. Democrats are fighting to repeal the cuts, to lower your costs, and to save your health care. To my Republican colleagues, inaction is not an option. If you want
I say shut it down. You guys know how I feel about this. Shut it down. Government does more damage when it's open. Here is Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Have direct. Hi, everyone. Just wanted to give you the news. If you haven't seen it already, we now have direct evidence that Joe Biden took payments, direct payments from his brother, Jim Biden, in a complete money laundering scheme. And this links him to foreign investments. Democrats have been giving us hell. The media has not believed our stories. On oversight, we have been investigating Joe Biden directly and his corruption through his family businesses because Joe Biden is the brand. Well, now we have a check for $200,000 that came through a company that his brother had invested in, and they were cycling money through from foreign investments. This is the most explosive news. This news needs to be spread everywhere. Make sure you tell everyone you know. Share this video. Share this post. Joe Biden has been busted, and we just got the goods. We have the receipts, and we have an actual check that Joe Biden received directly made out to him from his brother, Jim Biden, for $200,000. Again, this check was written to him.
I mean, we've been waiting for that shoe to drop for a long time. And, of course, Sebastian, just as cynical as I am, not a single Democrat will be arrested. That's how deep the corruption is in Washington. When are they going to be held accountable? Well, press secretary says it's not retribution, it's accountability. Laura Loomer posting this 24 hours ago. It hurts my heart that we have... I'll let you read it. I'll let you read that, okay? Are you done reading it? All right. So here she's quote tweeting a video of Jasmine Crockett.
Continue. One of the things I do want to point out that's not been laid out that honestly hurts my heart is when I saw the no votes, there were only 2 Caucasians. For the most part, the only people that voted no were people of color because the rhetoric that Charlie Kirk continuously put out there was rhetoric that specifically targeted people of color. And so it is unfortunate that even our colleagues could not see how harmful his rhetoric was specifically to us. And you know what? One of the things I do.
More lies from Jasmine Crockett, but, you know, that's what happens when she opens her mouth. This just in, Bill Maher sparring with liberal actor Rob Reiner, who wants to put conditions on Democrats even speaking to the GOP. Well, that sounds quite the contrary to what we just heard that senator say.
But here's the thing. This would make some sense for the Democrats if they had any power. But the idea of we don't talk to you when we don't even have the power, of course you have to talk to people. I mean, there was an article somebody wrote. He was...
But here's the thing. You're right. But here's the thing. Let's say we're going to have that argument. You're going to try to talk to somebody and you have a point of view. The other person has a point of view. Before you have the exchange, you have to agree on certain facts.
No, you don't. You can't. Once you start down that road.
Well, no.
It's like these are, you just have to talk to people.
No, you talk to people. But if somebody says 2 + 2 is 4 and the other guy says, no, it's not, how do you begin the discussion?
Because Rob, that's a slippery slope. I agree. There are certain things that we all think. And then there are people, I'm sorry, everybody, I know this from doing this show. For so many people who've sat here and they're like, oh, this is a smart person. This is a rational person. And then there's like one thing. They don't believe we landed on the moon. And you're just like, no, if you start down that road of, I can't talk to you if you believe this crazy thing, because maybe
so
you
let's
just
say
can't. This would make some sense for the Democrats if they...
Rob Reiner. You need to have dialogue. You need to have discussion. End of story. Or else you get more situations like we saw. But the corruption is now in the crosshairs. Clearly, President Trump, press secretary, laying it all out. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Now, Letitia James campaigned on prosecuting Trump before she even knew he committed a crime. She turned the justice system into a political weapon. Now she's about to learn what real justice looks like. When the press secretary tried to spin it as retribution, the press secretary shut them down with two words. It's accountability. The difference does matter. Democrats weaponized the DOJ, the FBI, and state prosecutors to target their enemies. They thought they'd never face consequences. Well, they were wrong, and Trump said it plain. There were a lot of crooked people here before me. They almost destroyed our country. And now it's time to clean house. The same prosecutors who perverted justice are about to face it. Should corrupt prosecutors who abuse their office for politics face criminal charges? Let's have a conversation in the comments and show where you stand. Grab your American Badass gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.